Welcome, everybody. Guys, we are so grateful that you have tuned in to this very special episode. We're about to bring in the founder of Reebok. Okay, Reebok, it needs no introduction. Reebok is an amazing shoe company, and we're just so grateful for every single person that is here right now. I met Joe about a year ago. I met Joe, and I had the privilege of interviewing him and talking to him and really learning from him out and built, this athletic apparel into a billion-dollar company. And what I love about Joe, we have a lot in common. And he was named after his grandpa. I was named after my grandpa. He's an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And I really was blown away at the way that he poured in just so much to people and really shared his story with really total transparency. And for me, I think that is when we really learn, guys. I think we really learn when we can get in an environment with people that, number one, think bigger than us, right? If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get a new room. And so the fact that we're here today, and there he is, Mr. Joe Foster, guys, the fact that we have Mr. Joe Foster in the room today, guys, make sure, number one, you follow Joe. Make sure that you follow Joe. Just the fact that he took time out of his night, his day, wherever he is in the world. I think right now he's in the United Kingdom. And so wherever he is right now, he's taking time out to be here with us, guys. And I want you as well to ping some people into this room that you know would enjoy this room today, because this room is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And we have Tayana, we have Colin, we have Michelle, and we have Mr. Joe Foster here on the stage, guys. And later on in this show as well, guys, one of the things that we're going to allow you guys to be able to do is to be able to ask questions. And so if you're in this room and you've always wanted to ask, hey, I want to ask a founder of a billion-dollar brand, I want to ask them a question. I want you to raise your hand and come up on the stage. We will be bringing you guys up on the stage during this event. And so with that said, this man really needs no introduction, but I am going to introduce him because, like I said, he's just near and dear to my heart and really somebody that I look up to. And I would actually classify him as one of my mentors. And this is he goes by Joe Foster, but this is Joseph William Foster, guys. And this man is absolutely, when I say it, this man is absolutely, what I love about Joe is he's just like us. He is just like us. And he's chosen to be here today to share the story, to share the fact that as well, when you have a business and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this, right? There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be roadblocks. It's not always going to be just peaches and cream, right? And hopefully today in this story and through him sharing what he's went through in his life, hopefully today that you'll be impacted and you'll be touched and you'll know that you too can go out and start that business and that it can become a great success. So without further ado, guys, I want to give a warm welcome to Mr. Joe Foster. Joe, my friend, are you there, buddy?
Hi, it's good evening for me. Hi, Jack. Thank you for the introduction. Full title, Joseph William Foster. Wow.
Welcome in, Joe.
Yes, I'm here. Hi. We are in the UK, and it is now 6 p.m. here in the UK. Whereabouts in the States are you?
So we're down here in Florida.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. It's freezing here at the moment. I don't know why. We've gone down to about 5 degrees centigrade, which is cold.
When are you coming over to Florida?
I think we're in Florida. I can give you a date actually, almost July. On that one. We're there in July. We're in Miami in July.
Joe. Well, I'm going to meet up with Joe. He's in Miami, guys. I don't know about you, but Joe, I'm just really grateful to have you here, man. And there's a lot of people out there in the crowd today, Joe, and maybe they've started up a business. And can you just share with them your story and really inspire them and touch them?
It's a long story, and it's in the book. I don't know if you've read the book, but the book is Shoemaker. And I got down to writing the book because I retired, a long time ago, on 1990, before 1990. And I'm sitting in the sun, Tenerife, very nice, looking at my computer and looking at Wikipedia and Google, and they're telling me how Reebok began, how it started. And they also had a photograph of Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok, and no, that's not him. So that inspired me. I had to write a book to get this story straight. So the story starts really with my family. My grandfather in 1895, at the age of 15, he actually invented the spike running shoe. And that's a long time ago. A really long time ago. And he was only 15, but by the time he was 20, he had a business because he was part of his local running club, and wearing those spikes, he actually did better than he should have done. And so all his fellow teammates were looking at him and saying, what are these special shoes? So, of course, he had to make them all his special shoes. And that was the beginning of his business. So By 1904, he had world records in his shoes. By 1908, he had gold medals. And this went on all the way through the 20s. 1920s, that was his belle epoque. I don't know if you remember the film Chariots of Fire, but the athletes there, those athletes, they actually wore my grandfather's shoes to get their gold medals. There was Lord Burleigh Abrams and Eric Liddell. They were all athletes who won gold medals in the 1920s. However, my grandfather died in 1933, and I wasn't born until 1935, but I actually was born on his birthday. So my grandmother insisted that I had brought my name with him. My grandfather was Joseph William, and so, as you told everybody else, I became a Joseph William. And that is 1935, and we're just 4 years away from World War II. So my upbringing was during World War II for 6 years until, of course, it ended in 1945. And you have a normal life as a kid. You get your education. Mine was a little bit slower than usual because of World War II. But then, okay, I joined the family business when I was 17 after going to college. But in those days, we had to do national service. It's still not too long after World War II, so national service was still there in the UK. And my brother, Jeff, and myself, we both went away for 2 years. Jeff went to Germany. He saw Adidas, he saw Puma. I stayed in the UK, but I enjoyed myself because when you're in the forces, they love sport. And I was reasonable at badminton, so I managed to spend most of my 2 years playing badminton. However, we come back to the family company, and we come back, and now, of course, my father and uncle, they are looking after that business. And we come back, Jeff and I come back from doing our national service, and we come back to a failing company. We're looking at this company, and they're doing nothing. In fact, my father and my uncle, they're fighting. They're just arguing day in, day out. You probably remember Adi Dassler and Rudy Dassler. They were the same. The Dasslers were the same. But Rudy, he got a bit of sense and he moved out and set up his company, Puma. But of course, unfortunately, my uncle and father, they didn't do that. They just fought. And the company was going down. So Jeff and I had really no option. We tried to get them to see sense and to say, look, the business has to grow because it was a tremendously successful business that my grandfather had built. But they wouldn't listen. So in 1958, Jeff and myself, we up sticks, set up our own little factory 6 miles away from the parents' factory. And that was the beginning. And we set this up as Mercury Sports Footwear, which, well, we were happy with that name. But only 18 months into our business, our accountant, we said, you're doing very nice, boys. Yeah. Nice, you're making a bit of money and a nice product. You better register that name. And we're only young. I'm 24 at the time. Jeff is 26. Why do we need to do that? Well, if somebody comes along and thinks that Mercury are very nice shoes and they start making them, you're going to have a problem. So we tried to register the name. We couldn't because somebody else had the name. So I went to see an agent, and the agent, he pointed through the window. It was a nice day, and he pointed to Kodak. And he said, look, if you need to change your name, Kodak. And I said, what's with Kodak? They made the name up. It's up to you. But bring me 10 names. Don't bring me one. You just set up a company. We now have a nice small sports footwear company, and we're enthusiastic. We're in love with our name, and now we have to change it. So we're sitting down and we're thinking, new names. Falcon Sports, that could be a nice name. But Cougar Sports. But let me take you back to 1943. I am 8 years old. And like COVID, we couldn't go anywhere because this was in the middle of World War II. Okay. I'm entered into a race, a 60-yard sprint, and I win the race. Of course, I'm wearing my grandfather's spiked shoes, which probably helped tremendously.
Let's go, Joe.
So, yeah, I win the race. And okay, I go up to get my prize. And what do I get? I get a dictionary. I'm 8 years old. And I'm saying, guys, where's the football? Come on, a dictionary. A little disgusted at the time, but it was a Webster's dictionary. And most of you guys in America, you'll know a Webster's dictionary is an American dictionary. Much different in many ways from an English dictionary. A lot of things are spelt differently. However, we're sitting down now, we're 1960, we're trying to change our name. And I opened my dictionary at the letter R. I loved the letter R. I thought, oh, it's a nice, strong letter. And so you start with the letter R, and I'm thumbing through, and I come across R-E-B-O-K. Reebok, what's that? It's a small South African gazelle. Wow, we're a running company. Gazelle, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. Okay, take this back to the agent with the other 9 names. He checks them all out, and he came back and said, well, look, you've got your wish. This is the only one that came out absolutely clean. You can use it. Just one caveat. Yes, what's that? If somebody comes along and say we're making shoes out of Reebok skin, you can't stop them. I looked at Jeff, and Jeff looked at me and said, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. So that's how we became Reebok. So that's our first part of the story.
Wow, and I love that. I love that, Joe. That's so original. And you know what I love it. What I love most is that there was a lot going on, and just like right now in the world, there's a lot going on. Can you maybe speak to that? Can you maybe speak to just when there's a lot going on? What? How'd you find your way, Joe?
We're part of a family company, and you come back and you find that the company is failing. You just think, we need a future. We need to do something. And so with everything that was going on, it was necessary for us to get out of that company. And you're young. When you're young, and I guess if you are to be an entrepreneur, it's very good to be young. Main reason is that you're a bit fearless. What can go wrong? Nothing can go wrong. So we didn't foresee all the little pitfalls and problems. So being innocent, and like I say, with lots of things going on in the world, we had to make our own way. And so setting up our own company and thinking, yeah, this is great. That was it. We started our company. And the problem that we had at that time when we set up with Mercury and we eventually became Reebok is that Adidas were already in the UK with soccer. That was the big sport in the UK, soccer. And so we couldn't go there. So we went with athletics. And that's good. We were good at the athletics. We made some really good shoes and we picked up a lot of sales. Athletics in the UK was just a small business compared to soccer. And so we've got to think, well, where do we go with this? And that's when I looked at America. Because for me, Foster's had actually been selling shoes to Yale University. They were selling 200 pairs of hand-sewn shoes a month to a guy called Frank Ryan and he was head coach at Yale, and Bob G and Jack. They were both head coaches. And so I knew that every university, every college had a coach. And coach was a bit of a god at that time. And you could go to college on a sports scholarship. In the UK, no. That didn't happen. So I had to think of how do I get to America. I got lucky because I'm reading a magazine. In this magazine, the British government is saying, we'd love you to export. And what we would do is we will pay for you a stand at the NSGA show, which is the National Sporting Goods Show. And that was in Chicago in February. And you guys will know that February and Chicago don't go together very well because it's very cold. And that was probably the coldest I'd ever known at the time when I did go there. But the government said, we'll pay for a stand, we'll pay for your return airfare, and we'll pay for your 50% of your hotel bill and your food that you need whilst you're over there. So I went with a friend. That was great, yes. We took a trip to New York first. I was looking at the sports stores. My friend was looking at the outdoor stores. Then we went on to Chicago, and the guys loved it. I got a lot of people coming up saying, "Where do we get these shoes from?" I said, "England." Is that New England? No, it's not New England. It's England across the water. Oh, London. Yeah, London. And then I did realize at that point, people were not going to import from the UK. I had to find a distributor. Okay. And this took me until 1979. That's 11 years. I had at least 6 failed attempts, and it was hard. Pushing into the market was hard. We couldn't get there. But you need luck. If you're going to start your business and you're going to get on your way, you've got to be willing to take the problems. And with the problems, also a bit of luck. You learn to look at a problem and say, now, how can I make this into an advantage? And quite often, this is what happens. We were only 4 years into our business when Adidas sent us a letter. We had, for our silhouette, 2 stripes and a T-bar. And they said, that doesn't go with our 3 stripes. We're going to call you out on that one. So we didn't know what to do. We thought for 5 minutes. Then we thought, just a minute. Adidas know we're here. We're a small company. And Adidas is sending us a letter. Wow, that's great. So we changed our silhouette. We changed it to the vector that you see today on Reebok. And we thought that was better, much more distinctive. These things happen, but the luck we had is that during the 70s, it started actually right at the end of the 1960s, 69-ish, running became a big category. All of a sudden, everybody in America were buying shoes and they were running. And Nike grew very much on this sudden increase in the interest in running. And this was fueled by Runner's World. I don't know if any of you heard about Runner's World, but Runner's World grew with the running boom. It started off as a single A4 page, and by 1975, it was a full glossy magazine. Everybody who was running read it because it told you who won different events, where the next 10K events were. So everybody was buying this magazine. Fantastic. And Bob Anderson, who was a publisher, he decided that because he was doing so well, he could tell everybody which was the number 1 shoe to buy. Okay, yes, Nike, of course. And if you think 350 million Americans, 10% were probably running then, that's 35 million. And probably 10% of those would love to have the number 1 shoe. That's 3.5 million probably. And unfortunately, Phil Knight is importing his shoes from Japan at that time. And could he get the shoes to meet the demand? No, couldn't get them. A year later, Bob Anderson changes the number 1 shoe, and I think it was probably a New Balance. Could New Balance reach those numbers? No. So fortunately, things changed, and Bob Anderson decided instead of saying number 1, we'll do 5 stars. We'll do star ratings, 5 stars being the top. And I knew we could do a 5-star shoe. I knew that. We were in the business. That's what you do. And we did. We produced a 5-star shoe. So in 1979, this is 11 years after I'd first gone over there, in 1979, I'm at the NSJ show, Chicago, and along came out, would have loved a 5-star shoe, but this was just before, 6 months before the shoe ratings came out. But they wanted 25,000 pairs. And we only had a little factory back there in the United Kingdom. And 25,000 pairs would be 6 months' work. We were going to do this, and we were going for a 5-star shoe. So I had an arrangement with a friend of mine, part of Barter, a big shoe company. They would help if we got some orders. But then came out and said, but we want a better price. And a better price meant going to the Far East, meant going to South Korea. Fortunately, I'd also made arrangements with an agent for a South Korean company. They were going to make samples. So we were covered. The next real bit of luck was that Paul Fireman, and you may have heard of Paul Fireman, I don't know, Paul Fireman came along. He was running a company called Boston Camping. Well, their tents, fishing rods, and all the ancillary equipment. And he was a bit fed up with doing what he'd been doing for 10 years with his brother and his brother-in-law, small company. And he said, Joe, he said, you get a 5-star shoe and I'd love to be a distributor. I said, Paul, come and have a look at our Aztec, this shoe we designed. I said, this is going to be a 5-star shoe. Yeah, okay, Joe, maybe it is, but it's not there yet. So he said, if it gets there, I'm your man. Well, of course, we're still in February, and the shoe doesn't come out till the end of the shoe edition of Runner's World doesn't come out till the end of July. So I take a trip after, I'm back to the UK and then back in to visit Kmart and visit Paul up in Boston. And I'm thinking Kmart, yeah, well, Kmart, it's 25,000 per great order, but it might be my last because you've got to step up and do the financials that they want, and if you don't meet that, you're in trouble. But Paul was about my size of guy, and we could talk. We got on okay, and so we're waiting. And it was the last week in July, and I phoned Paul and said, Paul, go down to the local kiosk and see if the Runner's World edition is out, the shoe edition. An hour later, he came back and said, Joe, you got 5 stars, Aztec. But not only that, We had two other shoes as well. One was a spike shoe, and one was a road racing shoe. The spike shoe was called Linker, and he said that got 5 stars. And also Midas got 5 stars. So there we were. We hit the ground running. We had 3 5-star shoes, and that was the hook. And you will know that. Being in America, you need the hook. And that brought us into the market fantastically. So that's how we came to get onto the American market.
Beautiful.
Wow. Joe, I just want to say, man, you said so much there, and I want to just unpack it a little bit because you said so much,
Right.
And it was so beautiful. And, you know, what I loved and what really stood out to me, Joe, is you said you got to make your own. And you said you asked yourself a question: where do we go from here? Where do we go with this? You knew you had to go to Chicago. You had to go to that show. You had to shake and bake, right? New cities. You got to get out of your comfort zone, AKA, right?
Absolutely.
I love as well what you said here. You said, how can I make it? How can I take these quote unquote problems? How can I make them my advantage? And you said, and I love what you said, because I think you said you need luck. You need a little luck on your side. And I think sometimes people always, when people hear that word, Joe, some people are like, oh man, luck, man. You know, whatever they have that comes to their mind when they think about luck, but it's real. And so you put yourself, the way that you created your own luck, right, was by you got out of your comfort zone. You went, you shake and bake, you met new people. You used the mastermind principle and you met other people. And I think, man, that is amazing, Joe. And I don't know if anybody on the stage right here wants to add anything to what he said there, but that was just absolutely amazing.
Hey, Colin here from Florida as well. Wow, Joe, this is amazing. Great to have you on. I love to hear the story here. I woke up this morning and checked out my CrossFit shoes, and they wear Reebok, by the way. So I like what you said about 5 stars, and it reminded me the story of Samuel Adams, who tried to get the best beer in America as well. I think going for that recognition, did that make a really big impact on the company when you got it?
Absolutely. That was the turning point. That was the thing that, as I said, it became the hook. That actually drew us into America. Before that, we'd been pushing hard, knocking on doors, trying to get our product in there. But of course, now all of a sudden, 30 million, I imagine 30 million we're buying runners wool. We're seeing that we had a 5-star shoe. There was demand. Once there was that demand, and these little strokes of luck. We talk about luck. 11 years trying to get into America. People say, is this an overnight success? No. It means a lot of hard graft, a lot of going wrong. And most people, if you really look around, you'll find that there's luck there. There's something waiting for you. Whether it's the timing, whatever it is. And what you really need to do is to make sure it doesn't pass you by. Is make sure you don't look at it and think, I'm not sure, and then it's gone. You know, you have to be pretty sure. You have to see something and go for it. Being an entrepreneur means taking risks. It means getting out there and just having a go at something. And if you have a go at something enough, it will work. It will happen. You'll find on the route the things you're doing wrong. You'll find that because it'll speak to you and you have to change that. But that again, that is being an entrepreneur. That is going for something. You have a dream, don't lose it. Keep on with that dream because eventually something will come sooner or later. For us, it was a little bit late, I must admit, 11 years, but we got in there and then it became something big. But the thing is, once we got in the American market, it wasn't running that really became the success story for Reebok. We had to pivot. We had to do something else. And that was aerobics and women. That was the thing. We became a woman's company, a woman's sports shoe company. We were not that big when Arnold Martinez, who was a tech rep down in LA, his wife, Frankie, she's going to these aerobic classes. And Arnold saying, what are they? What's happening? What's aerobics? And she told him, it's exercise to music. Oh, he said, I'm coming down to your next class and I'll have a look at this, which he did. The instructor there is in a pair of sneakers, and half of the class were also wearing sneakers, the other half wearing no footwear at all. And that was a light bulb moment for Arno. And so he immediately took a red eye up to Boston to see Paul Feynman. And they said to Paul, we've got this wonderful thing happening in LA. And Paul is saying, whoa, hold on, slow down. We're a running company. We don't want to be making dancing shoes for women. And Arnold saying, yeah, but it's... And all Paul could say is, look, keep your eye on it. If it does anything, if it seems to be, we'll probably get involved. But Arnold wasn't happy with that. He went round to the back door to see Steve Liggett, and Steve Liggett was in charge of production. He persuaded Steve to get him 200 pairs of shoes. specifically for women on a woman's last, made from glove leather and nice cushion sole. He got those and he gave them to the instructors. And that really was how Reebok started. Because once Jane Fonda went out and bought a pair of those shoes to use in her videos, the sales went crazy. Girls weren't just wearing them for the aerobics, they were wearing them all the time, putting the heels in the bag and going to work in the Reeboks and just putting the heels on when they got to work. And we were a $9 million company at that point. Not big, but coming along. A year later, we were $30 million. And a year after that, we were $90 million. Then $300 million. Then $900 million. And in 5 years, we were $1 billion. So from 0 to $1 billion in 4 to 5 years. That's what grew Reebok, because we saw, Arnold certainly saw, an opportunity with women, and these were only in women's sizes. And the men really got hungry. They wanted that shoe. And eventually, we got it in Exafit and into fitness. But that's where Reebok, again, that piece of luck, Arnold seeing that opportunity, and then Reebok being able to take advantage of it.
Wow. I'm so in awe. Like, you're making it sound so easy, Joe. But you and your brother, like, you guys are real visionaries. Like, I'm really enamored with hearing your story. I had no idea that it went so deep. And I might say also it's a part of real American, probably European too, culture when you talk about Jane Fonda and the different folks. But something that really stands out for me, I also run a retail e-commerce store,
Right.
is the story of distribution. I would love to hear any suggestions you have for us here in the room that are starting up, that are trying to get our brand, our products that we create out into the general masses. Because what I understand from you is you design this amazing product, you got other people to acknowledge it, right? Your
Right.
influencers, which we didn't call influencers at that time. But
Right.
then you really took it and you got this gentleman who was a massive distributor. And I think if I understand what you're saying, that really took you into a different level of profitability and obviously into this iconic brand that you built. So, what suggestions might you have for us who know we need to get distribution? What would you suggest?
In today's world, when I started, we didn't have any computers. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have Clubhouse. We had none of this. There wasn't this communication. Right now, media is king, and there's so much of it. And I had to just jump on an airplane with a handful of American Express travelers checks and go to the NSJ shows to go and meet people. Now it's technology, and you're into e-commerce and technology. You've got to be at the top of technology. You've got to be almost looking for something different in technology. It will come along. I'm not my wife, Julie. She's pretty good at technology, but I'm absolutely useless now at my age. It just goes straight in at one end and out the other. But technology now is driving so much business and social media. So it's looking around, trying to find that little bit of difference from somebody else. And making a difference doesn't need to be tremendous, but it needs to be something that you're just going to keep looking for it, searching for it. And being part of everything else, that doesn't work. You've got to find something. And in e-commerce that you're in now, and I don't know the detail of what you're in, but it's looking to find an influencer. So we talked about Jane Fonda. She was a big influencer. And my grandfather in his day, he found a guy called Alf Shrub in 1904. And he presented him with a pair of shoes, and Alf Shrub broke 3 world records in those shoes. So it's doing something different, finding that leverage, whatever it is. And as I say, you've got to look around and think, who's going to influence? What's going to influence my customers? And who are my customers? Identifying my customers was one of my first problems. I used to go down to retail stores and try and sell my product. And I would walk in, and the manager, the buyer, would say, "Who's Reebok?" And I said, "Well, I'm Reebok. This is my product." And nice product. But he said, "I've got Adidas and I've got Dunlop. Why do I need Reebok?" And that was a very important question for me. He didn't need Reebok. Why did I had to make him need Reebok? And so it's finding something that people need you. That's something different. And it's not something, if I could tell you exactly what you do today, then it would be very simple for everybody to be a winner. You can't. You've got to search for that. And having the patience, having the dream, yeah, and finding something different, working something different. That's, to me, that's the way that you will expand your business.
Joe, I love it. The greatest question you could ever ask yourself: why? Man, Joe, you are amazing, and you said so. You're saying so much, and one of the things I want to point out too is what you said, and just reiterate it: the fact that today technology has changed the game, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays you got to be where the people are. Where are the people at? They're online. Everybody's got a smartphone, and I love what you said. And you just demonstrated it with Jane. And there's influencers all around us. So you may have a product, right? Your product's great, but like, how about you reach out to that influencer, right? How about you say, hey, you know what? I got a product I want to put you in, and then come to find out, like your grandfather with the giving him the shoes, and the guy won three. Wow, just wow. And I just want to say that you are amazing. And man, I am over here. It's just an honor to be able to hear your story and have you just the way that you're laying it out, Joe, is so beautiful though. And so I really encourage people, man, to really listen what Joe is saying, because he's saying so much. And the greatest question you could ever ask yourself: why? Why do they need your product? Why do they need you? I love you, Joe. You're amazing.
Hey,
Keep
what's
it
old
going.
again? What's old again is new again, right? This is why we need to look at history. This is why you coming on here is amazing. Influencers were not something built in the last 10
Yep.
years. We all think it is, but what's old again is new again.
Oh, that's absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful because it really, you look at what drives decisions, right? That emotion, the feelings, what makes us swipe, what makes us press that button, purchase, or get that cash and say, here, cash register. It's the feeling. Absolutely. And so you see somebody you admire or somebody that's putting in that work, winning championships, and now they're wearing the product. And that's really just the gateway, right? That influence is the gateway to knowing, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do and what we provide. But the product is so good that it keeps the relationship going. And that's what really turns it into a $1 billion brand. And so it's beautiful, absolutely amazing.
Thank you for saying that. You do get these opportunities in life. And I think when you're in business and you're an entrepreneur, it's not 9 till 5. It's 24 hours. And it's building a family. And you can't do it on your own. That we found out very quickly. You need people with you, and you need to give them the right space to work in. You don't need to be the person who's telling them every day what to do. You want people who can be telling you what you should be doing, showing you something new, something different. And you want to get them excited, because if they're excited and they feel like your company will grow.
Creativity.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. On your own, you can't do this. You need people around you. You need them to share the excitement, to share that. Reebok had to be in everybody's soul. They went home with Reebok, and that was it. And it was part of a family. And that is so essential when you're setting something in motion and you're doing whatever you're trying to do with your business, is you've got to have a lot of people shouting the same message. Say, we're winners. We're absolute winners. We might suffer a few setbacks, but that race is not over until we have won. And if you've got that determination and people also feel that, then as a team and as a right team, your chances are improving all the time.
And Joe, I would agree with you, especially on one thing. Even though we're in the technology world, for example, Colin and I run several businesses together. I can tell you it still works and it's still needed to get out there and meet people face to face. Even though we're in a digital world, you discover things, you create bonds that transcend the digital realm. So we still find that extremely valuable. Thank you for sharing.
It's a pleasure. It really is.
But we can't let Joe get away with saying he scaled his business within a 5-year period to $1 billion without telling us a few tips on how we can scale our businesses.
But I think in scaling your business, it really is a matter of that enthusiasm. You've got to believe in it. And we knew with the sports footwear brand that, to influence people, you need performance. And if you've got people who perform in your shoes and it's going good, then it goes street. Because right now, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, Under Armour, you name them, we're now fashion companies. And you've got to recognize that. I once remember reading that Nike wouldn't allow anybody to say we're a fashion company, but we really all are now fashion companies. So you've got to be able to trend over to whatever will expand your business. If you're just on a straight line, a narrow straight line, your business won't expand. It's got to be able to bring in so many other aspects. And I think that once we started really as an aerobics company and a women's company, and men started looking at this product because all the women were wearing this wonderful Reebok shoe. We were only a small running company, so we hadn't taken on the label as Nike and Adidas of being male and of being sweaty. We hadn't taken that on. We were just a very small English company, and we were just treating these girls with this beautiful shoe. So you've got to find something which makes you a little bit different from your competitor. Although we never really thought of Adidas or Puma as competitors, we thought, we've got a plan, and this is what we are doing. We're not really too bothered. We keep our eye on these people, but it's really our plan. What do we want to do? And it's not what are they doing, what can we change? No, what can we do? So if you're going to scale up, again, it's looking at where the opportunities are coming. And there's something around the corner which is not happening today, but it will happen because of technology, whether the bitcoins, whether it's the crypto growth, whether that's fading, something else will be there, and you can probably create it. And if you think you can do something different, you can create something different, then you will scale up.
I love it. I love it. And Joe, my question to you is, because you talk a lot about you got to believe in yourself. And so how did Joe foster? Because I know that, again, there was many roadblocks. And how do you remove the doubts, Joe?
The first thing is not to have doubts. I think the first thing is to say these are challenges. And challenges are not doubts. Challenges are in fact, challenges can actually inspire you. Because something comes up and you've got to think, wow, I'm doing something wrong if there's a challenge. If there's a problem here, I'm doing something wrong. What do I change? And how do I make it? How do I make it to my advantage? So I don't think, at least maybe time has made things a lot easier for me to say that I don't remember having any doubts. I think you do get to the point where really, yes, you question, what is it? If it's not working, what is it's not working? And but you do have to keep on looking and changing. Self-doubt, not a good thing to have. And I think it's to do with being an optimist. If you're an optimist, you're the guy whose glass is half full all the time. You get a lot of people who only see the downsides. And I don't think I really looked at the downsides of anything. It was a question of saying, come on, you've got to encourage your team the same way. Okay, not every day is a good day. And some of the days you're hit with a real bad problem. But again, if you look at it and think, what can I do? We had a product we were selling in the UK, and the UK is very wet. A bit like Seattle in that area. It's very wet. People were running in our shoes, and they were coming back, and their socks were blue. And that's because the shoes we were selling them, there was a blue suede shoe, and we wondered what we'd been doing it for a long time. But all of a sudden, this dye was going into the runs the athletes, their socks, and of course the wives were not very happy about this. My husband is coming back with blue socks and blue feet as well. We talked with our tannery and said, "What's going on here? What's happening?" And they apologized. They said, we didn't wash out all the excess dye, which we'd always been doing. On this lot, they didn't wash it out. So what could we do? Okay. What we did is that everybody who wrote in, we just sent them a new pair of shoes of leather, which hadn't been, the dye had been washed out, so they wouldn't get blue feet again. And then we sent them also half a dozen pairs of socks. And we sent them blue socks. And they loved it. Everybody came back, oh, great, that's wonderful. That's just a little sort of problem. Not a big one, but it was something that you've got to be sensitive to.
Join me as a speaker.
Hello?
We can hear you, Joe. Sorry about that, buddy. We're just bringing people up here.
That's okay. That's okay. But it said, so you're trying to scale up, trying to do anything. It's really looking, your business is right in front of you. And unless you can change it, make it, and take it forward, you will just end up in a rut doing just the same thing day in, day out. A bit like Paul Feynman before we met. He'd been doing his wholesale trade and the outdoor trade, and he was tired of doing that. We came up and we got the opportunity, working together, to think, how can we really make a difference and keep making a difference? And that's it. When, I don't know who actually came up with the idea of the pump, but when the pump took off, it was absolutely incredible. When, was it D. Brown, he sort of from the halfway line, he's dunking, and then he bends down and pumps up his shoes. This was something different. And it's those sort of differences in your business. You've got to find, just think about it, and you'll be surprised how you find something different that you can do. They'll just make people think, wow, that's great.
I love that, Joe. I love that. And you are just amazing and really just pouring so much out today in our cup. And we're just so thankful for that, Joe. And I really just can't say it enough of how thankful I am that you're here with us right now. It's almost surreal every time we get together, just the way that you show up, Joe. I gotta give you your flowers real quick, Joe, because the way that you show up and the way that you pour out and you share your stories and you share your insight, it's rare. And I just want to just say, everybody that's in this room, guys, make sure you follow Joe Foster. Don't just follow him here on Clubhouse. Follow him here on Clubhouse, but also follow him on all the other social media platforms. Check out what he's got going on today, guys. The man is amazing. And what I want to do now, guys, we have about 15 or so minutes left in the room today with Joe's in the room. And so if you got a question, I know some of you guys have come up to the stage. I know you got some questions you want to ask Mr. Joe Foster. If you have a question, what we want to do is we want to go popcorn style, and we do want to just, let's keep it short and sweet, because I know that, like I said, we're time sensitive and we want to give everybody an opportunity to ask a question if they have one. So with that said, Joe, if you're free, we want to allow people to ask some questions.
Okay, we're ready. Yes, off you go.
Whoever would like to go first, we go first.
If it's popcorn style, this is Jeremiah. Can I speak?
I'll go first.
Take it away, Jeremiah. You got it, buddy.
Thank you so much. Joe, absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here with us today. And Jack, to all the mods, Tay, everyone, thank you very much for hosting this as well. I am a fellow entrepreneur, product designer. I've designed products around the world, lived in 7 different countries. I've read your book, Shoemaker. It's phenomenal. It's stuff that keeps me going. When I was in college in 2005, I invented a new sport. I never took it seriously, but as I traveled the world for my industrial design career, I started testing it, and I started having events sponsored by Budweiser, Asahi, Heineken, Coca-Cola. And I brought it back here to the United States to basically build it here in the greatest sports market in the world. And one of the things I've always hoped to achieve is some type of connection with Reebok, which is right here in our backyard. We are one of those things that you talk about when you mention being different and showing the world and the market a different perspective, a different shade or filter as to how you can be better yourself and how our products can touch your heart. So I just wanted to share what we do. We are positioning the sport. It's called Tri-Ball, 3 teams at the same time. So a mixture of rugby, basketball, soccer, and football. And we're positioning the sport to become the world's leading example of mixed gender competition for gender equality, equal pay, and equity. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share that with you. And my question, I with all due respect, I really do not mean to pry at all. I'd never get a shot like this. Do you know anyone I can reach out to at Reebok and try and just get them to take a look at what we're...
You've arrived at a time when I can ask the same question. Who do I know at Reebok? I'm beginning to get to know 1 or 2 of the new people, because ABG have just bought this, of course, from Adidas. And I know the big thing that they're doing, which is the first thing they're doing, they're going to make Reebok visible again. Because with the Adidas, when they were with Adidas, they took away the visibility. Now they're giving us visibility. But I'm trying to find out who are the people. And when we're coming over, we'll be in Canada in 2 weeks' time. We'll be in America as well. We'll be in Boston, but and in Chicago. But we're going to Toronto, and the new Canadian people want to speak. So I'll be meeting somebody. Then at this moment of time, as I say, ABG are giving Reebok a lot of visibility. They will be doing, because they put retailers on all globally. But I'm not too sure what the strategy is. And I don't think they are either. And I don't think that's a problem. I think they're licensing people, and that's what they do well. But they've now picked up Reebok, and they've got to decide whether they're actually selling a name or building a brand. And I'm hopeful that we can come together. Shaq O'Neal, he is a big piece of ABG, and he loves the brand. So at this moment of time, I'm a bit with you. I'm not too sure who I talk to, because they only took over the company on the 1st of March. So right now, it's less than a month that they've been working in the company. So there's a lot of new people. People from France were in touch with us earlier today as well. They are also now taking on a different role in France. So I'm learning.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing. And if anybody else has a question, we'll take a few more. We have 10 minutes left. You have Joe here, and we want to ask him some questions. Let's get him, give everybody some time as well.
Tay, I'd love to jump up on stage if that's okay and ask the question.
Yeah, feel free.
Hi, Joe. I'm Sharon Cognac. I work with Colin and a couple of other people here and run a couple of rooms called Lead With Your Story as a brand strategist and storytelling coach. I love the story that you told about the blue shoes. And I was wondering what advice you could give other entrepreneurs about reframing the narrative, because that was a really excellent example of reframing narrative, taking a client problem or a customer problem and showing it to be a strength of your company. So I was wondering what advice you could give to other entrepreneurs about how to choose wisely which ones to reframe and how to do it in the way that you turned that negative into a positive. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I think that whatever you are, you've got to believe in your business. Number one, you've got to be really into it. It's not, as I said, you can't go into an office at 9 o'clock in the morning and pick up. It's 24 hours. If you want your business to really expand, to grow, to be able to see the future, then you have to notice every little problem that comes up. And if that problem comes up twice, then you've really got to look at it. And then you've got to say, why are we getting this problem? What is this problem? And figure a way, as we did with blue shoes and blue socks. We figured a way that it's customer service. And customer service is something which is let down by a lot of people. A lot of people do that. When I was running the company, and if a problem came in, because we were global, and problems come in, and sometimes it would come to me and say, look, I've been talking to whatever person, and I'm getting no answers. And to me, that was wrong, because if you are running a certain part of your company, and somebody comes to you and say, look, I've got this and this, you've got to go back to them. In other words, customer service is, you've got to answer, even if you have nothing to tell them. They give you a problem, and obviously you may have to go work deeper into your company to find out what that is. But the guy or the person who's giving you that question needs to know what you're doing. And at all points, respond, even if it's something to say, thank you for the question, thank you for the problem, leave it with me, I'll be back to you within 24 hours. And even in 24 hours, if you've not got the answer, go back, because that's your customer relations, and say, look, we're working on it. And so you've got to keep them very, very much in your mind. You've got to keep their attention. And that way, with your customers, you build that. Then word of mouth, that customer relationship will just spread. And your company will grow through many different ways. You've got to be a person. You've not just got to be an answering machine. You don't want people. And you've got to do that. Whatever you're doing, whatever problems you may have, is look at it and try and analyze it. And okay, maybe it was easier for us because we had a product that turned people's feet blue. And we just figured out a way around that. And no matter what you do, you've got to be available, or certainly somebody has to be available at all times to answer questions and to give answers if you can give answers, or to say that we're working on it. I think that the practice is something that you need. That somebody needs to be there to collect the problems. Somebody who is really chasing the problems and answering them, and you build a team around this. And once you get into it, you can become enthusiastic about it. So it's just take these things head on.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
Okay.
My name is Alex. I would like to ask a question. I currently have a company. It's a boutique. We carry different brands of CBD and Delta 8 products, and we also we carry clothing as well. We carry some shoes. I actually have some Reeboks on my feet, which is crazy. But also, I wanted to say I appreciate you guys for starting this room, and it's a blessing to be here. And with that being said, my question for you is currently work in going, like you said, in just a steady path, a linear growth rather than exponential. And my question was, do you believe that is to scale that big and to create that big of a company, you have to have your own product? You have to start from scratch and design your products? Because currently we don't have a product, we don't have our own product. And yeah, I was just wondering if you think that is the only way to get that big is to have your own product.
Not necessarily. I think as you grow, you might find yourself having a product, but I think you can grow retail, which you're providing a service. And you look at ABG itself. ABG, they have 30 brands. They have lots of brands, but they're growing as a company, as a licensing company. And retail is being hit these days by social media and by online selling. This is where a lot of things are going. But retail now, I was asked not too long ago, do you think that retail is dying out? And being in retail is a bad thing? And I said, no, because retail is entertainment and people want entertainment. More and more, we're becoming automated. AI is taking over a lot of things that happen. So people now have much more time. They want to go shopping. They want to go to retail, but retail has to build for itself a different dimension. We went to a place in Dubai called Amongst Few, and there they had a wall of shoes. They had someone play music. They had a library. They had all sorts of things. And you could also get a cup of coffee. So whatever it is that draws people into your business, you've got to develop a style. Some of the people say, oh, go to this because you can spend half an hour in there and you can, enjoy. And that's part of it, having fun. Make it fun for people. It's not just something that you serve over a counter. Somebody wants to buy something, you give it to them, you take the money and say goodbye. No, you want them to come back. And if you can develop that, the name of your store, whatever it is, that starts to grow. But you've got to work at that. You've got to work at it. And these particular people, Amongst Few, they did a collaboration with Reebok. And I did some narration for them. But they sold out within minutes of launching this collaboration. And it's because they were a community store. They're not big, they're not big, but they will grow. Will definitely grow, and that will depend again upon people or whatever. So it's your enthusiasm. You don't need your own brand. You will probably find though that as you grow and as people come to you, you'll make a T-shirt with your name on it. You'll do things, and your name will become your brand.
I appreciate that so much.
Hey, Joe, this is Enrique. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your story and your brand. You mentioned the use of tech a couple of times. I'm wondering, I would love to get your perspective on what you think in terms of what is happening digitally with the metaverse, and you're seeing brands hopping onto the metaverse. I'd be interested for you as a founder of this brand. What is your take on things being transitioned into a digital format, and what advice would you give for people that have brands on just keeping up with the technology and keeping up with the transition and potentially different audiences? Would love to hear your take.
I think you're probably better at telling me about that than I'm telling you about it, because everything that I've done in my life has been rather physical. Right now, we are going into the virtual arena, and yes, I've been to one or two conferences where they've talked about metaverse and what's the future of shopping, all these things, and the future is changing. It really is changing. And if we talk about now, you're young. If you're young enough, you should be knowing everything that's on with technology. You should be having a look at it, trying it. People are. We know the metaverse, and you think of the metaverse and you think, what is that? How does it work? But it's for the young people. And I'm probably too old to give you a great deal of advice on that, except that technology is leading us into different spaces.
We just got to follow. I love that. Joe,
you have to be there.
You're amazing.
Beautiful, Joe. This has this not just been absolutely phenomenal? Can we all unmute our mics?
Oh my goodness, yes, let's go.
Came in today. Wow. This has been phenomenal.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, Jack,
Guys,
this
this
is
has been an
Donovan.
amazing room, and I really just want to say a big shout out to Joe Foster for taking time to come in here with us today, guys. We do have to end the room now because Joe has other things that this is a busy man, and we want to be mindful of his time. He's been more than generous. He came in here for us, guys, and so maybe he might be back. That's the thing. We might be even bring him back. Let's be mindful of his time now, and I'm just grateful for you, Joe. Thank you so much for the way that you laid things out today. Just, man, you poured so much into our cup, Joe. And I really am so grateful for just you coming in and sharing your insight, your wisdom, and really can't say thank you enough. And I want to also give a big shout out to Michelle and Colin for making this room possible, for making it possible for us to be able to host this space in the Startup Club. And we're just so grateful for every single person that's in this room today that came in to be a part of this room. We want to give a big shout out to you guys as well, because none of this, listen, we can bring in anybody, but if you guys don't come, then it just falls on deaf ears. And so the fact that you showed up in this room to learn, to grow, to expand, to get some new information in, right? To realize, hey, you heard Joe's story. He went to $1 billion in a matter of short years. Now, obviously, there was years leading up to that, but you must understand that you too, whatever you in Joe, it's in you. If you're willing to step up, if you're willing to, like he said, you're willing to believe in yourself, right? Whatever it is you want in life, in your business, your startup, wherever you are, you've got to believe. And so take that, guys. And one of the things as well, when you have this type of information that you're exposed to, one of the things that I do, and I recommend every single person that's in here do it, go back and listen to the replay of the room. Because sometimes when you're taking somebody's story in, you pick in that moment, wherever you're at in that moment, you pick and choose what you're really grab onto. And so I like to go back and I like to re-listen over and over. And I find that you'll find more clues, guys. And so that would be my one word of advice is go back and listen to the replay of this. Also, reach out to Joe. Send Joe a message. Let him know how much this meant to you. Yeah. Let him know how much that you appreciated him coming and being able to learn and grow from him. So reach out to him. I love you. I love you all. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Joe, any final last words?
Thank you for that, Jack. And yes, reach out. By all means, reach out. It's a pleasure. And any time we're here and we've got the time.
Joe, where's the best place for
great.
people to reach out?
We don't ever travel anywhere. Pardon?
Where's the best place for people to reach out to?
We're on all platforms. We're on every platform. Reebok the Founder. I think Jewel is probably Instagram, Twitter. We're there. We're on everything.
Love it.
Yeah. LinkedIn, and we'll be out there in Miami in not too long.
We'll definitely meet up, Joe, and I'll get you buy you a dinner, because I love to get around people like you, Joe, and just learn and grow and just, you're amazing. You've just blessed us all so much, and I'm forever grateful for you, Joe. So I just want to give a big shout out to you guys one more time. Give it up, Joe Foster.
Thank
everybody.
you, Joe. Let's go.
Thank you,
Amazing
Joe.
room. We love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, Tay. This is amazing.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll do a countdown in 5,
4,
3,
2,
1. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you all.
Bye.